Hey, so remember when I made that video where I put all the songs that made me cry and put them on a tier list? Well, I was revisiting that video and I couldn't help but notice a lot of you left a comment sharing songs that made you cry. And uh, today I just got curious, can these songs make me cry as well? Ever since the creation of that video, there has been like a couple more songs that managed to make me cry. One of the biggest examples being 4th of July by Sufjan Stevens. Extremely heartbreaking songs. The lyrics are, oh, it's devastating. But today I felt like crying, and I wanted to see if you guys can make me cry. So we're gonna be visiting the comments from that video and see if they can make me cry. And by the way, if you want to check these songs out yourself, I made a little playlist including all of the songs, so you can find that in the description of the video. And with that out of the way, let's get started. All right, just like last time, we have a tier list here. We have I Cried, which is songs I genuinely cried to after first listen. Almost Cried is Almost Cried. Well, I mean, very self-explanatory. My Cry in the Future is stuff that I would cry to. It's either I'm not in the mood or it requires multiple listens. Wouldn't Cry But Good is still a good tier. This means the song is very good, but it's personally something I wouldn't really cry to. Wouldn't Cry Not Good is it's just the worst. Like I didn't enjoy the song at all. First up, we have Asleep by The Smiths. I haven't listened to The Smiths a lot other than The Queen Is Dead, and this wasn't exactly the Smiths that I knew. The song has very somber piano melody. The lyrics are really simple, repetitive, but also powerful. And I especially really like the melancholy ending that this song has. I'm not really sure what it is. I think it's like a music box, but it just kind of ends the song off on a really bittersweet note. The song seems to be about like death, and it's obviously comparing it to falling asleep and not wanting to wake up. Really depressing, and I thought Morrissey's voice also works really well. I feel like upon revisiting, I definitely could cry to this song. I feel like it just would take me a few more listens. This is definitely right up my alley. Thank you for whoever suggested this song. I really like it. Next up, we have Nutshell by Alice in Chains. This is an acoustic cut from one of the most popular 90s rock bands, and it portrays this feeling of hopelessness in like a very desolate environment well, with especially the vocal harmony and the almost shoegazy guitar riffs that drowns out a lot of other sounds. Overall feels very dystopian. I personally don't see myself crying to a song like this, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this was an extremely beautiful song, and I'm gonna put it in the wouldn't cry but good tier. Next up is Mayonnaise by the Smashing Pumpkins. Now, I've never tried a Smashing Pumpkins song in my life, but one thing I immediately notice is a contrast between the really heavy guitar tones and riffs, and there's also the contrastingly androgynous singing voice that was surprisingly high. It felt more like the song was portraying like a sense of repressed rage rather than raw sadness, almost like an emo song. And I don't really know if Smashing Pumpkins is emo, but sue me. This personally isn't something I'd listen to and cried to, but at the same time, I can definitely see how it can make someone sad and cry even. So I'm gonna put it right here in wouldn't cry but good. Next up is a recommendation from a fellow Radiohead enjoyer, You and Whose Army from Amnesia. As much as I like this song, I can never see myself crying to it, mostly because I feel like the song is a lot more euphoric than sad, especially the climax when the piano comes in and Tom's voice is just absolutely cathartic. I know the lyrics are really cynical and the harmonies, especially during the verse, is very somber, but it feels more like a build up to like a payoff at the climax, which makes it all worth it, and I just feel happy, I guess. I will say though, this is definitely my top 3 song from Amnesiac, and it's not number 3. I really like this song a lot. Next up is Play Crack at the Sky, which reminds me a lot of early Taylor Swift, especially with the high male harmony and the acoustic melody. I agree with the commenter because I really don't know what exactly the song's trying to say, but to me it sounds like you're grieving the loss of an old friend and remembering memories you've had with them. I especially really like the triple tracked vocal cycle towards the end. I don't really know if that's the right word to describe it, but if you listen to the song, you'll know what I'm talking about. I I don't know, I liked it a lot, and I think I'm gonna put it in Might Cry in the Future. I really like this song and it might get to me. Liability by the Lorde is next. To be completely honest, I don't have a lot of good things to say about this one. To me, it sounds like a typical breakup song where you go, oh, I'm the problem, I'm useless. And personally, I'm not a big fan of those kind of songs, but if I had a really nasty breakup, no, I probably still wouldn't really listen to songs like these just because I generally don't like a song making me feel pathetic in a way. So I'm just gonna put it in the Wouldn't Cry Not Good. I'm sorry to whoever suggested this, but I think the commenter had another recommendation, which was Grow As We Go by Platt. And this song was a lot better than the Lorde one. I really like the lyrics and especially the vocal performance. This Platt guy has a really comforting voice, even with like the harmony that comes in after second verse. I wouldn't really say this is a tearjerker, more like a song telling you that, oh, everything's gonna be okay, like a comfort song. I feel like while I personally don't feel vulnerable enough right now to cry to something as sweet and beautiful as this one, I can definitely see myself crying to this in the future. So I'm gonna put it here. The more I think about it, I feel like I almost cried to that Smith song. So I'm gonna move that up a tier. Next up, we have Runaway by Kanye West from his 2010 album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasies. In my opinion, this is the best song on the album, and the production is just perfectly grandiose, and the piano beats are iconic. Kanye being vulnerable about his fame, money, and power kind of has like a different kind of sadness to it from all the previous songs, almost like seeing your parents cry. Like you're so not used to seeing someone like this be vulnerable about their problems. And as beautiful as it is, and as much as I like the song, I personally don't think I'd cry to a Kanye song. I'm just not that big of a hip hop head, I guess. So I'm gonna put this one right here next to the Wouldn't Cry But Good tier. Next up is One More Light by Linkin Park. This is the title track from the last album with the band's lead singer, and Chester Bennington's voice sounds more personal and intimate than the Chester Bennington that I know from like the Linkin Park hit singles from early 2000s and whatnot. But what really got me with the song was like how nostalgic the instrumental sounded and the powerful chorus as well. I didn't expect to almost cry to something like this, but this one got very close. I'm gonna put it in the almost cry tier. I really like this Linkin Park song and I might check the whole album out because of it. Next up is a comment that recommended 3 different songs. We first have Alec Benjamin's Built a Friend. First of all, the piano that opens this song up gave me Sufjan Stevens PTSD. I thought I was gonna cry again just because I remember that song, but luckily that didn't happen because while this was the most narrative song on the list so far, the chorus melody was a little too corny for my liking. The story told was decently sad and it had a good approach, but I feel like the biggest turnoff for me was Alec Benjamin's really high, like androgynous voice, which I feel like got a little annoying. I personally didn't like it very much, so I'm gonna put it in the Wouldn't Cry Not Good tier. But I really did like the next song this commenter suggested, which is Open by Hunter Metz. This reminded me a lot of like Hozier's sound. Am I pronouncing that guy's name right? I really liked his voice and the acoustic guitar instrumentals. I can't describe it, but like it sounds like the song is about death, even though lyrically it's clearly about a heartbreak. I really like the guy's voice, so I might check more of his stuff out. And I do have a friend who's a fan of Hozier, so I don't know. I might recommend this to them. I'm gonna put this into Might Cry in the Future. Finally, we have Don't Take the Girl by Tim McGraw. I didn't expect this song to be sad because it sounded so unapologetically country, and the first verse and chorus were really corny and cheesy. But they pull the oldest trick in the book where you reuse the same song structure over and over with like increasingly stronger lyrics, like how it starts with like a fishing pole and then it's like give me all your money, and then it's like childbirth. By the third verse and chorus, the story actually did tug on my heartstrings, and I'm ashamed to admit that this one almost got me, which was so surprising because like the voice, the instrumentals, and some of the lyrics were so not my thing. But I don't know. I guess it's a well-written song because it almost did make me cry, so I'm gonna put it here. And as you can see, yeah, many good songs, but none of them really made me cry. I'd like to issue a personal apology to Snowflake with 3 E's because for some reason while I was gathering the comments, I didn't notice their comment had a suggestion as well. And oh my god, like I would have been mad at myself if I didn't check this song out because Keeley's Come Down by Gang of Youth is one of the most creative songs I've seen on this list. It's essentially 7 minutes of pure tension. There's a character named Achilles, which I imagine is like an allusion to the Achilles from Trojan War, and he's standing on the roof, and the narrator is trying to convince Achilles to not jump off the roof and essentially commits
sewer slide.
I really like the poetic lyricism. It's honestly, I feel like the song is so conceptually creative, and like the violin arpeggio or whatever the instrumental is does a really good job in creating tension. And oh my god, I this is one of my favorite songs from I think all of these songs you guys suggested. If I'm in the mood, I can definitely see myself crying to it, so I'm gonna put it in the might cry in the future. Again, thank you to everyone who suggested songs, and but I really enjoyed listening to these songs because these weren't songs I'd go out of my way to listen on my own, and I think listening to like viewer suggested songs is a really fun way to discover new music that I could potentially fuck with. So this is the final tier list. I would recommend most, if not all, of these songs to people who like sad songs, I guess. And if you guys have suggestions and this video gets enough comments, I might do something like this again. So if there are songs that made you cry, you can leave it in the comments down below. I might do a video like this again. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.